Thank you for that beautiful solo. Ooh. So, it feels good to be back. I can tell you that. You know, sometimes you just need a little bit of disconnection, a little rejuvenation, and then booyah, we're all back. So there's lots of changes going on. As you know, we have the 8 a.m. service back in the beautiful chapel. It happens every Sunday at 8 a.m., and of course it continues online. And we have Jean Lean and Reverend Mary Grace Sorensen, who are the co-leaders of this ministry. And what I love is there's a coming together. We meet and we decide the themes for the month. And this month, we are looking at animal wisdom. So that's the theme for June. We are all, and maybe we're biased, but we all have fur babies and we just love animals, so it was just this natural thing. Like, one person said animal and we were like, oh, yes! And what this does, though, for us as a community, it brings us together in wholeness, right? So we're all walking different paths, but we have similar stepping stones. And that's what this kind of movement does for us as a community. So I'm really excited about that. And today's talk, I'm going to focus on the wisdom of self-care from our pets. Got that? Now, some of you may be thinking, oh, really, Rev? Not a message about self-care. Really, with all the things that are going on and how fast life is changing, dealing with war in Ukraine, dealing with mass shootings, you're going to talk about self-care? And you may even grumble and say, you know, I came here to be inspired by God. And if you have any of those thoughts or feelings, I'm here to honor that. I'm here to honor that. As I remind you that we cannot presence our highest self if our energetic and spiritual energy, our tanks, are low or empty. Did you hear that? It's impossible for us to presence our highest self when we are running on empty. And I can tell you that when I don't take time to care for my emotional self, when I don't take time to care for my body and my soul's needs, I'm unable to manifest as the highest divine person that I'm here to be, okay? You see, when we're driven ourselves to the point where our tank is empty, then I know for me, my ego, my humanity has taken control. It's taken control. It's bought into our beliefs in society that we've got to keep going. We've got to accomplish all these things. Time is of the essence. I've bought into that. And when I'm in that place, it's really hard for me to give from a place of love and joy. When my tank is on empty, I'm moving towards overwhelmed and resentment. In Paul Selig's book, The Kingdom, we are reminded about how we operate when our vibration is low. And this is the quote that I want to share with you. Now, what it means to be accountable in the lower vibrational field is the alignment of will through choice. And everything you choose, every act you engage in, indeed, you are accountable to. You understand this as karma, perhaps, but quite simply, it is cause and effect. The challenges you face in the lower vibrational plane are the accountability to prior choices. This simply means that when humanity decided to claim itself as separate from Source, it announces itself in accountability to its lower creations. You are accountable to war. You are accountable to deceit of yourself and others. That's a pretty powerful quote, isn't it? And I know for those of us who like to stay in the realm of positivity as much as possible, that can be jarring. But this is the reason that self-care is so important and so vital, and we need to make it a priority. Because when we are in self-care, we are able to keep our vibration at a higher level. And when we are operating at a higher frequency, we are connected to Source. We are engaged with Source. So that means we're able to make decisions from love and light and not fear. We have the ability to be God in skin. The second thing that I want to remind you is God is not something we can only access in sacred places. Of course, it's easier, right? It's easier to connect where you feel the divinity is just palpable, like here in the sanctuary, right? In the chapel. If you go out on the grounds to the labyrinth, you can feel it. And so, yes, it's easier. And yet God is in everyone and everything, including our pets. So my hope is that you too will see the allness of God's presence, not only here at UCOH, but in the eyes of your friends, in the smiles of strangers, in the beauty that is Mother Nature, and in the unconditional love that we receive from our pets, from our fur babies. So in a world that's been changing so dramatically in the last couple of years, we need to create ways of coping. Are you with me? We need to create ways of coping. I had a friend say to me the other day, "Stress will kill you." And I went, dramatic much? And then I realized there are a lot of stats that support that thought. The slide that I'm showing you is from the CDC that talks about the leading causes of death in the US, and this was taken from 2020. And when you look at that list, you can see that stress is an underlying causality for many of them. Yes? So when the world seems topsy-turvy and chaotic, we need to find ways to release that fear, to release the stress. We have to make conscious choices to be in the joy of the moment. The joy of the moment. This moment, joy. This moment of connection, divinity to divinity, joy. Don't let these moments slip through your hands. Now, I've spoken frequently that chaos is part of the creation process. And when things are easy and comfortable, and we feel like, life is kind of predictable, as humans, guess what? We don't want to change the status quo. We're pretty comfy, thank you very much. But it's in the unknown and the upheavals that we're called upon to create anew, right? To change paradigms to support us in our evolution. And while all of that is wonderful, our bodies, our minds, our souls are being strained. There's some pressure on us, and it can feel really uncomfortable. And so that's why I'm talking about self-care, because self-care needs to happen even in the midst of chaos. So we're going to talk about the spiritual path and wisdom of our pets and hear what they have to share with us about ways that we can take care of ourselves. Even now, even with all the tumultuousness that goes on, there is a way to be in joy, to be in love, and to relax. Ever see our pets in that veg state, right? They don't ask permission. They don't ask permission of commandeering some kind of comfortable furniture, right? They're not worried about the time of day. They're not worried about when the next meal is or the walk is. They're not worried about that dog next door that told me off yesterday. They're not worried about that, right? They are in that moment and they know their body and mind needs to relax. And there it goes, in that perfect position. And they're all in that moment. Everything is turned off but that moment of bliss. So what's the lesson for us in this amazing model of behavior? What's the lesson? Being yourself, yes. What else? Taking care of your body, yes. What else? Be present, yes. Beautiful lessons. And it's even in our busy lives. We can take a moment to relax, get comfy. It's a gift that we give ourselves to listen to our mind and body when it just needs to shut off for a little bit. What if I told you that that is part of proper maintenance for these physical things that we are inhabiting while we are on this plane of existence? Proper care and maintenance. Our pets know the importance of it. They don't judge it. They haven't bought into the puritanical ethic that we have to be productive every moment of every day, right? All right, so what's the next piece of wisdom? I'm going to look at what can we do with anxiety, right? What do we do when we feel like that bottle full of energy is just kind of in our bodies all over? And a lot of times that outpictures as anxiety. Well, we've got some more wisdom from our dogs. Right? When they have pent-up energy that needs releasing, what do? They run, right? They run around like crazy. Did you know it has a term now? You guys knew, zoomies. Zoomies. And the only reason that I knew this is because my husband Graham sent me a link with, for zoomies, to watch dogs that do zoomies. And I'm like, wow, that's kind of crazy. He's not here in case you're looking over there like the MTC. He's in Kansas City. I saw some of you look over there. He's in Kansas City at his parent organization. That's where he's based and works remotely here. So we're still together. All is well. So when we talk about these zoomies, what it is it's these short bursts of energy, right? That they do these speed things that really releases that pent-up energy that's trapped in their bodies. So I'm not suggesting that you now need to do zoomies in your house. Don't go home and say, Rev Sheree said I got to do zoomies, excuse me, right? I don't want to hear you bouncing off the walls and furniture. No, but what I'm saying is we can all do different things about releasing energy. And one of the things that I like to do is dancing. I don't like exercising, can you tell? I don't like exercising, but I love dancing. And so when I'm feeling that way, what I'll do is I'll pick one of the songs that I just love. And for me, it's Happy by Will Ferrell. You know that one, right? Because we don't have to make this, I've got to go to the gym to work out the anxiety and blah, 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 blah. Right? Keep it simple. Do what you love. Move a little bit. And how can you not have a smile on your face after that? I see all of you. You do have smiles on your faces. So the lessons from our dog, shake the groove thing, right? To release anxiety and excess energy. Beautiful. So ever feel like sometimes life is just too intense? Well, I suggest listening to our fur babies. What's their favorite thing to do? Play. Take time to play. Playing in the animal kingdom is a bonding experience for them. And it doesn't matter whether it's human or other animals. That's a connection time for them. And they know that it reduces their stress and it supports their emotional well-being. And guess what it does for us? Very similar. Very similar. We get the opportunity to disengage for a moment from the intensity. It reduces our stress. It boosts our immunity, right? We get to connect with other people. Intimacy, joy. All right, and if you're like, well, yeah, when I was a teen, I played. I'm telling you, you can do it now, right? It allows us to not take life so seriously. A few weeks ago, I got an invitation from a friend to have a meal at their house. And I was feeling so pooped, right? And just like, I can't do one more social engagement, right? In case you don't know, I'm naturally an introvert. I know it's hard to believe, but I am an introvert, and that's the way that I recharge. And then they said the magic word or phrase. Oh, almost. It was Mexican train. And I was like, I'm so there, right? All of a sudden, it was like, my inner kid was like, ooh, yeah, let's do this, we're gonna go. And I have to tell you, I get so much joy out of trash talking, yes, and laughter. It just changes everything in me. Do I mention again that we're having a volunteer game night? I'm inviting you to play with me in a very nice way, right? And if you're not a volunteer and you're thinking about being a volunteer, come, okay? Come. So what's the lesson there? That even when life feels intense, we can press the pause button and play, because then life will feel lighter. We give ourselves permission to have fun. So before I continue with the next animal wisdom tip, I'm gonna kind of go around here a little bit, and I want to talk about a spiritual gift that many of us in Unity have. And it's a wonderful gift, and it can also be a double-edged sword if we don't utilize it effectively. And then after that, I'm going to share with you the tip from the cat kingdom of how best to deal with this gift in ease and grace. What is that gift? Oh, I know my people. Being an empath. How many of you believe you are an empath? Raise your hand. All right, people, look around. Look around. Good question. An empath is someone that is able to feel other people's emotions. That's an empath. And it's a powerful tool for us to use when we're navigating our relationships, our connections. And it's also an amazing gift to others because it supports them in feeling heard and being honored. But being an empath means that we use the gift wisely. We cannot leave ourselves completely open to be feeling everybody and everything and everyone's feelings and emotions. Because when we do that, it's very easy for us to become paralyzed and ineffective. So, for example, when we see hatred being perpetrated against others, it's normal for us to have those feelings of fear and anger and frustration and disappointment. However, an empath becomes paralyzed if we react as if the violence is happening to us. As empaths, our responsibility is to do the work of discernment and boundaries and protection. That's ours. Getting clear on what are our own feelings versus someone else's feelings. And we must utilize this wisdom of our highest self to be able to make the decision of whether to allow someone's energy in or to block it. And the reason that I'm mentioning this gift of being an empath is because when others are hurting and suffering, empaths can do a couple of things. We think we have to suffer and hurt with them, or we believe we are the ones that are hurting and suffering because there's no delineation there. And neither of those are true. And this is really important because if we feel that we are being attacked or hurt, what's going to be our response? Defensive, yes. Protection, yes. Anger, yes. What else? Anxiety, yes. Fear, yes. Yes. And we are going to be reacting from a primal place. That is not higher functioning. Got it? Higher functioning is lost when we are in that survival mode. And so that's why I'm saying to you it's so important as an empath to know how to work with that energy. Yes? Okay, so if you have further questions about that and you need a workshop, send me some emails. Ever watch a cat set boundaries? So looking at this face, do you think Mr. Snugglepuss wants a cuddle? No. Mr. Snugglepuss is very clear that its well-being means it needs space at this point for its well-being, right? We look at that, we're like, yes, Mr. Snugglepuss, take the space you need. And then when they want love and affection, how do we know? They come, right? They're in your face. They don't care where you are. They're just stepping all over you because they want love and affection. And when cats set the boundaries, we don't go around calling them negative names. We don't go around saying, oh, diva. Sometimes you do. All right, be real, right? We usually don't throw shade on our animals, right? We just respect and accept the boundaries. And guess what? The cat doesn't care if you're trying to throw shade anyway. It doesn't care, right? It takes responsibility for getting its needs met. So what's the valuable lesson here, my friends? Boundaries. Ask for what you need. Make your needs clear. Yes. Embrace your inner cat. I like that. Embrace your inner cat. Yes. Right? It's important for us to have healthy boundaries, my friends. That is for our well-being also. And boundaries allow us to moderate our own emotions, moderate our own energy, and supports us in discernment. All right, one last self-care practice, getting outdoors. Our fur babies love the outdoors. They make sure every day, some part of that day is outside. I gotta tell you, when we were at the beach, Ziggy, which is the black and white furry one, he's in my office. They're in their little kennel because I knew I had a long day here today. He loves being outside. He could sit outside forever. And so when we were at the beach, you know, our favorite time was when it started to get a little cooler. We'd go outside, sit in the chair. Ziggy's on the lap. Heaven. Well, since we've come back, he's a nightmare. because he wants to be outside, just sitting and looking around and enjoying nature. You see, our animals know the benefits of the sun, right? Getting enough vitamin D, they get to smell the air, take a leisurely stroll, have a good nose around, right? And they understand that the outdoor stimulates them, stimulates their mind and kind of mellows their behaviors, mellows their emotions. Can we find a lesson here for us? What is it? Get outdoors. Hello, simple. Get outdoors. Yes, get outdoors. Have a daily practice. And I'm saying, I know we're like urban, suburban. It doesn't matter. You see the dog and that guy walking sidewalk? Take the walk. Take a chair if you don't feel like walking and just plop it down outside and look at your garden. Look at all the flowers that you back break to put in there, right, and weed for the neighbors, obviously, because you're not outside enjoying it, right? But most importantly, when we're outdoors, that's one of the quickest shortcuts to connect to God. It reminds us that there's something greater than us that creates magnificence. So in Unity, we say, everything is of God. We say it over and over again. Everything is of God. Well, that means that God's in our animals too. And I've given you a recap there of the lessons that we learned just in this 20-minute discussion, right? They're all there. So I'm giving you some homework. What do you think it'll be? Go outside, yes. And dance. Dance out. We can do both. Dance outside. Good. Self-care, self-care, self-care. But I also want you, yes. Nature. Yes. Love that. Have fun. Yes. Play. Allow your inner child to come out and play. It's vital. It balances us so that we're not just consumed about war and mass shootings, right? It balances us. So this week, your homework is to look at those self-care lists, pick some things, do some things. But the most important thing that I want you to do, if you have an animal, is to interact with your animal. Interact with your pet. And I want you to listen to the wisdom. Yes, even you. That baby has wisdom. Yes, she does. I know her dog, so I know why she's laughing. Listen to the wisdom of your fur baby. And then I want you to go to our Facebook page, Unity Church of the Hills Facebook page, and I want you to post a picture of your animal with the name and what is the lesson that you learned this week. Can you do that? Okay, I'm going to be looking. And then what we'll do for the month of June, since we're celebrating the wisdom of the animals, the staff favorites, we'll kind of rotate in here on Sundays. So post the wisdom of your fur babies. All right. What do you got, Ian? Oh, my Lord, Ian. Ian's telling me he's going to bomb us with stuff. All right. 12 cats and 4 dogs, so I guess they know a little bit about animals. All right, my love, celebration's coming up, and let's prepare for meditation.